As an IMG, your pathway to working in Canada usually falls within one of these three categories. Number one is the CaRMS match route. This is the traditional residency application system. Some provinces would offer dedicated IMG spots, meaning you're only competing against other IMGs, whereas some other provinces would offer competitive spots, meaning that you're in the same pool as Canadian medical grads, which is a much tougher game, as you can imagine. If you're applying through CaRMS, I've got a full breakdown of the CaRMS timeline and examination preparation videos on my channel, so make sure you check that out if you're going through this route. The second route is the practice ready assessment route. This is mainly for doctors who have already trained and practiced abroad, it's usually in family medicine. These programs will let you skip residency and instead you go through a hands-on supervised assessment. If you pass, you can get licensed, often with a return of service agreement in a rural or underserved area. And the third is alternate or provisional licensing. Some provinces would offer provisional licenses or alternate pathways that will let you practice under supervision while you're working towards your full licensure. This is usually for specialists who have completed their training abroad in certain countries. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm breaking down which provinces actually give you the best shot, whether you're going through the CaRMS route or you're aiming for a practice ready assessment, or you've completed your specialty training elsewhere and you're looking to work right away. Not all provinces are created equally, especially if you're an internationally trained doctor trying to work here in Canada. Some provinces would roll out the red carpet with fast track programs and IMG only residency spots, while some others wouldn't. So now let's break down what each province actually offers. Let's start with Ontario, which has always been one of the top destinations for IMGs. It actually has the highest number of IMG residency spots in the entire country, but it's also the most populous province, meaning it attracts the highest number of applicants as well, which makes the competition intense. Ontario offers dedicated IMG seats through the CaRMS and is home to major centers like Toronto, McMaster, Western. For years, the biggest gap with Ontario was the lack of a PRA or practice ready assessment option, but that has now changed. Ontario has launched a practice ready assessment program called PRO, which is a hands-on clinical assessment for internationally trained family doctors who are experienced. This would typically lead to a licensure with a 3-year return of service in high need areas. With both CaRMS and PRA pathways open, Ontario is now in the conversation for the top IMG province. By the way, links to all the programs mentioned, whether it be CaRMS or PRA, would be in the description for your reference and for your research later. Next, we're moving on to Alberta. In Alberta, province also offers dedicated IMG spots through CaRMS, but to access this, you have to go through the AIMG program, which requires you to meet specific physical presence requirements, and you must also be residing in Alberta, so it's not open to just anyone. Alberta also offers a PRA stream for experienced family physicians, which will lead to practice under return of service agreements as well. Alberta has very solid training hospitals in Edmonton and Calgary, and it's an excellent option for IMGs if you're open to the PRA or practice ready assessment route, or you qualify through the AIMG program. Next up, we're going to British Columbia. BC offers a very clear and respected PRA pathway through the PRA BC, but here's the catch: they don't offer IMG only spots in the CaRMS. If you're going through CaRMS in BC, it's usually competitive spots, meaning that you're competing with Canadian medical graduates as well. The PRA route in BC also leads you to having a provisional license, but then you also have a return of service to complete once you're done your full licensure. Now let's talk about Saskatchewan, which is also a good option, especially if you're going down the PRA or practice ready assessment route. Saskatchewan has a program called PRA SAS, and what makes Saskatchewan different is that it can be predictable and very transparent in its process, has regular intakes, clear criteria, and strong support from the provincial health authorities. With regards to the CaRMS, Saskatchewan also offers dedicated IMG spots in CaRMS, but compared to bigger provinces like Ontario, they don't have as many IMG spots in CaRMS, that is. Next up, we have Manitoba, which is also a strong option, because they have dedicated IMG spots as well as a well-run practice-ready assessment program, which is called PRA-MB. The PRA is open to family physicians who have recent clinical experience, and also those who complete it are placed under a return of service contract in rural communities. Manitoba has a small population, meaning that the competition is less, and many IMGs report a smooth path to full licensure with good and strong local support. Next up, we have Nova Scotia, which has made major strides in welcoming international doctors. The province would now offer dedicated IMG spots in CaRMS, but more importantly, it launched the Nova Scotia Practice Ready Assessment Program, or NSPRA. This is a structured pathway for experienced family physicians, starting with orientation followed by 12-week clinical field assessment, and if you pass, you're licensed to practice, of course, under a return of service agreement. Nova Scotia has actually been aggressively recruiting IMGs and expanding opportunities, and with this new PRA program in place, it becomes a very strong option for doctors who are looking to work sooner rather than later, especially if you're in the field of family medicine. Newfoundland and Labrador also offers dedicated IMG CaRMS spots. They have expedited alternative licensure pathways, especially in family medicine for people who are willing to work in high need areas. And also, if you're a specialist and you've completed your training abroad, some of these alternative pathways are open to you as well. Of course, these would come with return of service contracts, but the licensing process is often more flexible and more responsive than in other provinces. IMGs who are looking to work quickly, especially in rural medicine, Newfoundland is very much worth considering. And finally, we have Quebec. The province does have IMG access to CaRMS, but only through competitive spots, meaning again that you're going head to head with Canadian graduates. Quebec also doesn't have a PRA program that's widely accessible to non-French speaking doctors, and fluency in French is often mandatory for both practice and application processes. Unless you're very fluent in French or you're familiar with the Quebec system, it's usually a challenge for most IMGs to go to Quebec. So now, what's the best province for IMG doctors in 2025? I would say if you're aiming for traditional residency like CaRMS, look at provinces that have dedicated CaRMS spots like Ontario and Alberta. If you've already completed your postgraduate training and you want to start practicing sooner, especially if you're in family medicine, look at provinces that have good and established practice-ready assessment routes like Nova Scotia, Saskatchewan, Alberta as well. One thing I would say is that if you haven't landed in Canada yet, you're still coming to land, this is a great opportunity for you to look at all the provinces and decide which one you want to settle in, because in some provinces like Alberta, you can only access their programs or their services if you meet their physical presence requirements, meaning that you have to be in the province. Considering all options, if Alberta comes up as your top choice, you know that you have to go and settle down there in order to access those services. So planning ahead, doing your research, doing your groundwork would help you in the future. Your best province will depend on your specialty, your flexibility, and your long-term goals. The opportunities are out there, you just have to make sure you look for them. If you want help preparing for the NAC OSCE exam or the MCCQ one, that's if you're going down the CaRMS route, make sure you check out the rest of my IMG series where I break down the exams and give you strategies that would help you score high. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Share this video to anyone who's considering moving to Canada or who's already in Canada and is trying to get into the Canadian medical system. My name is Olumide Olotu, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.